again, everyone, and welcome back to the Dog Show Drive with Wayne and Will. I'm Wayne Kavanaugh.
You are, and I've really missed you. My name's Will.
I missed you too, buddy. I do. This week, we're going to talk about great dogs, great clusters, great judges, and the history and function that is so important in evaluating breeding stock and show dogs. All that and more right here on the Dog Show Drive. Well, hey there, Will. How you doing, bud? It's been a few minutes.
It has been a few. I mean, it's not really. It's only been not even 2 weeks yet. So
I know, but that's terrible.
yeah, but
That's terrible. We had a great time at Grays Lake. That was really fun.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody. It was a good bunch of dogs. It was a good committee. It was great to see Ken of Virginia. It was
Yeah.
great.
And you did a fine job, young William.
Of course, I did.
You did a very
Sorry.
nice job. I got to watch Will Judge, which was fun. And we had breakfast together, and I drove him over in my rocket ship every day. And he still seems to have all his parts in place. I didn't go too fast. I don't know.
Just some of the quick accelerations. It
That's
felt like, remember when you're a kid and you're on the roller coaster and your face goes.
That was my goal. That was my goal.
But you don't hear a damn thing though. He just goes. It's like, what the
You're
heck?
there. You're just there. That was so much fun.
We
But
are
you
the
really,
Jetsons now.
we are the Jetsons. I took Cheryl's car to Indy this weekend, and I left her home with the rocket ship, and she liked it. And she doesn't go fast, but she liked it. Anyway, we had such a good time there. It's such a great cluster because it attracts so many good dogs. And by the way, people come from all over, right?
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
Clint Livingston came up. There's Canadians there. People come from all over.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really fun, and they just do it right. They do it right by getting good judging panels.
What a panel. That was a wonderful panel. Even just to have dinner with. It was a wonderful panel. So
Yep. And that's so important. If you want to draw an entry, draw honest people who can judge dogs. That's the way you do it. And that was a great panel. It was a great panel and fun to hang out with, right? I mean,
yeah, I had a good time. Had a good time seeing them. And Pat
Yeah.
Trotter was there, and she was our leader. Seemed like at every dinner. It was
yeah. And Jimmy was there, and it's
Jim,
just a great time.
Dana.
Great time. Yeah, Dana. God, boy, I love talking dogs with Dana. But yeah, it's a good time, and the facility's nice, and they do all the little nice things right, and yeah, it's been one of those ones that always gets the best entry around that time. Although I do want to mention that the Schaumburg shows with International and Wheaton did a good job with their gate. They drew a lot of good spectators, and that's important to keep
It
people
really
in the
is.
sport. So well done there. But there are good spectators at Grays Lake too. It's the whole gestalt. You know, when you walk in there, you know it's professionally done. Ken and Virginia got this, have it dialed, and their club members are awesome. Their treasurer, and I'm gonna forget her name. Lee, she was terrific.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a good bunch of people, and I like the Kringles. Will, I like the Kringles.
I never tried them.
Yeah, the Kringles are great. If you live in Racine, you know what Kringles are. They're all made in a bakery there. It's a round, flat pastry. Just tastes so good. And
I did my best to stay away from them, but
yeah, I did not do my best.
no.
I'm gonna get better. And then this weekend, where'd you go this weekend, Will?
I was judging at the Wildwood Kennel Club here in Woodstock, Ontario. Dean Dennis and Tracy Cartwright run that show, and it was a fun show. We had a good panel of judges. John Bryson from Australia was there.
Cool.
Dr. Chapa from Mexico was there. Raymond Urich, who I just love watching Raymond judge sighthounds. He's
Yeah.
a very good sighthound judge. Mary White was there. We had a good time, a really good
Yeah.
time. So
That's terrific.
yeah.
It's when you get a panel like that, again, you know, a good panel that you want to, it's all about who when you go into the lunchroom, you don't want to have to hide in the corner because you don't want to talk to any of these morons. You get a panel like that, you can't wait to go to the lunchroom and dinner,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And Dean said we don't usually in Canada have a judges gallery. We usually because some clubs don't want the judges sitting and watching. All
Yeah.
Dean's like, you guys are gonna do what you're gonna do. I want you to come. Well, we all sat there and we all chatted and we had fun and we picked on each
Yeah.
other and it was just great. It
Yeah.
was a great time.
People think what we do in there is promote dogs. I can tell you that doesn't happen. What does happen is you sit next to someone you can learn from,
Oh, for sure.
or you can discuss a breed with, and maybe not even a breed in the ring. It just comes up. That's a great learning center. Yeah, people can abuse it. There's no doubt.
Well, there's no
Uh,
question. It's human
but
nature.
it's
But I was sat but next to Dr. Chapo a lot, and we call him Paco. And he is the greatest. He gave me so much advice. He knows I'm judging now, and and he was very genuine about it. He's such a nice
yeah,
man.
and God knows you need it, Will.
I know, man.
No, it's really a wonderful. For instance, at Indy this weekend, and I'm going to miss a lot of people because it's a big panel. The Abbotts were there. Brian Dell Clark was there. Linnell Clark, Jamie and Doug, of course. David Kirkland. I could talk dogs all day with David. Cindy Lane, Kim LeBlanc, Sandra Lex, Neil McDivitt, who I just love, and Kim, Kim Meredith, my dog show wife, and Virginia was there. Nancy Simmons. It was just a good panel. And you can't, you're not going to get enough because we're all in the rings, right? You're
Right.
not going to get enough one on one. But when you sit together every night for those couple hours in that judge's pen, or whatever you want to call it, that's when you can sit next to your friends and talk dogs. And we did. And we'd move around. You'd sit next to the same. Well, I sat with Kim Meredith almost every night, um, but that whole thing, you can move around and talk to people. And Virginia was great to talk to Virginia. I don't. We get to see her at Grays Lake, but we don't get enough time to talk. So all those people.
We had fun at Westchester with her.
Oh, we did. We did. That was fun. That was fun. But yeah, a good time was had by all, and it was really. It's just always good to be on a panel with people you can talk dogs with. There's no CEUs for that, Will.
No.
But I learned a lot. I'll go find somebody. Um, I must have talked wires with RC for, I don't know, at least an hour. Um, and I'm not planning on applying for those any minute, but if there's a breed that I'm interested in, I do not. And by the way, I would love to observe breeds that I'm never going to judge or apprentice.
Mhm.
You have to take the test to do that. So it's going to cost you $75 to do that for every breed. But I'm walking by a ring and I saw a really good entry of Sammy's and I'm like, and it was, I forget who it was, maybe David Kirkland or someone good. And I was like, oh, I'd love to be in there right now, just learning and talking, but it doesn't work that way. So you catch them after, you
Right.
catch them after. And Kim LeBlanc was kind enough to let me apprentice Borzoi under her. Boy, I don't get to see her often, and she was great to talk dogs with. You get to see her all the time,
Yeah,
right?
we see her all the time. Kimmy's great. I
Yeah.
love hanging out with Kimmy. We have this thing that whenever we have dinner together, she always sits next to me. I told her she just don't touch my stuff.
Yeah.
But then she'll come over, she'll start touching my stuff because I said
But there was a good entry Siberians. You don't think I wanted to go in there and talk to her about those?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's a great and I actually sped like James Bond down there to catch Kim Meredith do the Alaskan Malamute specialty, which is one of the I think it was one of those. It was late in the afternoon it started. So I was able to get there in time for that because I wouldn't want to miss that. I mean, that was really fun. And Virginia and I got to sit and watch Portuguese water dogs together. I learned a lot there. So it's one of those panels. And of course, Jamie and Doug I could talk dogs with all day, every day. And sometimes I do. Um, but I wanted to mention the cluster itself, Will. It's going to be one, it is already one that you have to go to. It's a must attend show. This facility, it's the State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis. They have the building is so cool. It's got windows way up high at different levels. So the natural light, the natural light comes into the building and it just makes this great feeling. The other thing is they have vendors galore.
Oh,
And how
good.
many shows do you go to these days? They just
Yeah.
don't have vendors. And having vendors is just so much fun. And you can get anything you want. And people wait for that, right? Everybody's there, every vendor's there. And in fact, they sold out of vendor space, and there's a lot of space, and there was a lot of vendors. So that just brings a whole new vibe to the thing. Good judges do. But the clubs, and I don't want to just say Doug and Jamie, but there's so many members of those. Here's the thing about that weekend, Will. There's different clubs, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the Indianapolis Kennel Club, it's the other club. They work together like it's one group, one club, one family. They all wore these red vests. You couldn't tell who was in which club because they all were helping each other. It was so cool. And whoever brings that together, that's magical because that's not the way it works on most
No, it's
weekends.
hard. And that's the way it should because you'll get things done when you work as one.
Yep.
But
Yep. And like Fort Wayne, they did the concurrent sporting dog show. And you should see the way Doug and Jamie had it decorated. The tables, the trophies, the pheasants flying in the marsh and all that. It was so cool. Really fun to watch. And you could go down there and get a good if you miss Beasley, you get down there and watch them again. It was really fun. And they put together a great event. And I definitely don't want to forget this. There's a young man from the Pacific Northwest named Chris. I'm going to forget now. Nelson, maybe? Anyway, he's a ring announcer. And Will, if you've never heard him, you'll be blown away.
oh,
It
really?
is phenomenal. I don't know if he's been out of the West Coast yet. Maybe he has. Oh, he has. He does premiere here in Kalamazoo for the UKC. But they flew him out to Indy, and everybody was just blown away. He has this incredible mind. I met his parents too, and they're lovely as well. Chris can sit there. Well, he does. No notes, not one piece of paper. And he does every single breed in the group from memory with a history and fun facts. And it's so compelling. You have to listen to every breed. When the breed's not in the ring, he says, not in the group tonight and he does those too. He can also do all the miscellaneous, all the FSS, all the UKC, FCI. He can do any breed. And I had lunch with him because I love this guy. And we sat there and talked about breeds that he hasn't seen before that he wants. There's not many, but there's a couple breeds that we talked about that I've never heard of, and he knows everything about them.
Does
And
he
it's
have dogs? Like, is he a dog show person?
no, I don't think so. I think his parents told me he was fascinated by Africa as a young kid, and he's just was all about Africa, and he's very intense on learning. And I can say this: he's on the spectrum, and he's very focused on one thing at a time, and this is it. So Africa was his big thing, and he during that time he discovered Basenjis as part of Africa, and then he turned to dogs, and he works in a pet shop out in the Pacific Northwest, and it's all about dogs. But in his voice, he has this beautiful cadence and rhythm. It's so professional. I'd love to see him do the garden.
Wow.
Everybody would. Everybody would. But he adds so much to the show that it's brilliant.
Oh, I'd
It,
love to hear him. Wow.
oh, he's great. Well, he's just great, and I'm so glad they brought him out and I kept telling people, you got to bring him out. You got to bring him east. You got to bring him Midwest because they love him
What
out
shows
west.
does he do out west?
He did Claw. I don't know how to say it. Sorry. EU, whatever Claw. That's how I first heard him. But he does a bunch of the shows in Washington State and Oregon and some in California. And he's just, everybody loves him. He stands there with nothing but a microphone and just rattles it off. It's
Incredible.
so cool.
It really is when you think about it. Like you and I have been in dogs all our life,
I
and
couldn't do that.
no, either. There's no way I
No.
could. It's just
I mean, I did it for Crufts, but I also had notes and I
right.
studied them. And if I had to, I didn't read anything, never would, never did. He doesn't read anything either. I would have the note to look down though and see if it's of Unfarcha, Milton, Ontario hound. I'm going to look down and read that one. He didn't have to. He knew them all and the details and the stories, the backstories. And he was fascinated about coonhounds because he knew that I had them at the UKC. We talked about those. Oh, wait to hear this. Remember, I told you I have this painting that Patrick Phelan did. Patrick Phelan in Ireland. Well, I hope it's
Oh
Patrick
yes, 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 yes,
Phelan,
yes.
of the Kerry Beagles. It's
Yep.
the Scartine pack. This giant oil that the Irish Kennel Club had commissioned for me that I just treasure. I have it in my house. That's the only place it's ever been. Chris knew about it. I know the picture. I know the painting exactly. Pat Phelan went through the whole thing. Scartine pack. I said, how did you ever see that? Evidently, in a seminar that I used to do at UKC, I used that picture in some seminar, and he went down that rabbit hole and found it.
Wow.
Every piece of information that's on the internet, he's a phenomenal human being, and he's the nicest kid too. And his parents are just delightful. I'd never met them before. So, I was just thrilled to be able to have that time with him. And yeah, bring him to your show, ladies and gentlemen. Bring him to your show.
What's his name again, Chris?
I think it's Nelson. I feel bad. I don't remember it. But if you go to the um, Indie Winter Classic Facebook page, there's a nice salute to him there. And I know Jamie Hubbard's mentioned him in posts on Facebook. I'm pretty sure it's Nelson, but I'm not positive. But you can get his contact information from Jamie Hubbard. In fact, I'll post it as well. But yeah, hire this kid. He's great. He's great,
Wow.
and a lovely kid to be around too, and just a gentleman. Lovely to see. So all those little touches is what this is how you do it, right? And little thank you candy bars and little things here and there, and great communication. Great communication from the club. And I don't know if you follow the posts, but Indie Winter Classic took over Facebook for 3 weeks. I mean, the lots of crowd shots they post, so you can see what's going on. You feel like you're part of the thing, even if you're not there. But they do a great job. The fairgrounds are lovely, and building
Where do they
works
hold it?
in the Indianapolis State Fairgrounds in Indy. The building is just there's a lot of buildings there. This one's perfect. There's also a cheerleading competition in another building down the way. So you'd see, Dachshund, Wolfhound, Beagle, cheerleader with glitter and lots of bows in their hair. As you're walking around outside. They didn't come in, but outside. But yeah, it was great. Boy, I can't say enough about it. And I think I just said a lot about it. So
You did, yeah. No, that sounds wonderful.
yeah, got to go.
Get down there next year and check it out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to. And what's after that? I guess Madison, Wisconsin, the Renaissance Cluster is coming up in a couple weeks,
Yeah. Are you
and
there? Are you judging there?
4 days and 3 or 4 specialties too. It's going to be long,
Okay.
so I'm trying to get all better and take care of myself so I can whiz through that. And my voice is, but as long as I can point, I'll be fine. But yeah, it was that's fun. And then the Pointer National's coming up, which yeah, doing your own
When is
breed.
that? When's the Pointer National?
March 29th, I believe, or 30th.
By that weekend.
It's Doswell shows in
Oh, okay.
conjunction with the Doswell shows. And I've never been there, but I hear great things about that place. It's where Secretariat was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on the farm.
I did know that. I did know
Yeah.
that.
Pretty cool. So there'll be a lot of horses and a lot of horses' asses all together at the dog show.
All together.
It's who we are. It's who we are. Will.
Same bat channel.
Bunch of horses' asses. That's who we are. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So it'll be, and then Cheryl and I are gone to Europe for April, so a month off.
Oh, what are you doing in Europe? Just traveling?
We're floating down the Danube.
Oh, very nice. Very
Starting in Budapest, taking the Viking River cruise, and then doing some other stuff, and trying to get to the opera. I think we did get tickets for the Vienna Opera, but that'll be fun. And we didn't get tickets for the Lipanese or Stallions, but maybe we can figure it out when we get there. But yeah, it'll be fun. And Mike and Michelle are eating. Mike and Michelle Scott are eating, like everybody else does. They flew to Denmark this week so they could eat.
Yeah.
But they're going to is it Noma? Sorry. Rated as the best restaurant in the world, and they've got reservations there. And I think they're doing like 5 stars in 3 days collectively. They're going to so many places that have stars. Maybe it's 3 stars in 5 days, probably is. But so they're going there to eat at these great restaurants. See, dog people have more interest than just dogs. Some of them do. Some of them. But yeah, it was.
I want to do that, but I want to go to every hockey arena.
I know. I've been to a few, and you have too. But yeah, I've been to a few.
I'm going to the Kraken game in March when I go out there for a seminar.
Oh man, that'll be great. Well, that'll be fun. Brody and I went to, let's see, he went on everybody went on spring break when he was in undergraduate school. Everybody went, to Pensacola, wherever kids go for spring break. Not Brody and his friends. They went to a bunch of hockey. They started maybe Pittsburgh, and they kept going to NHL hockey arenas all the way up to Toronto. And they worked their way all the way back to Chicago and all the way around. Yeah, a little hockey fever there, but they went to a lot of barns then. And then he and I went to, well, when Steve was playing, Steve Downey, we went to Phoenix with him, to see him. And you and I went to Tampa to see him play.
Yeah.
We went to Pittsburgh to see him play. And yeah, and I had a memory come up today. And I said to Cheryl, I don't even remember this. 9 years ago, we went to an outdoor game in Chicago. It was Miami University against Western University.
Oh, wow, that'd
So
be fun.
Brody went to Miami and we lived near Western.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I remember it now, but when I looked at the picture, I'm like, what? No, I was an outdoor game.
I wasn't.
But it was but it was a college game. So not on the list of NHL arenas. And I'm sure you're all fascinated by this, ladies and gentlemen.
What about the Oilers? The Oilers came one short of
Yeah,
breaking the all-time record last
and they
night.
don't even have any show dogs that we don't know about.
Oh, yeah, they
They
do. Yeah. Zach
Okay.
has a Siberian Husky. Zach
There you
Hyman.
go. See how we pull that together?
Comes
Kim
together.
LeBlanc first. We talk about Siberian Huskies, and Matt, and then it's perfect. Will
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
like
her name is Lady. Yep. Zach
it's
has
like
a Siberian from my buddy Colin. Yep.
it's like Lake Wobegon, Garrison Keeler. We bring it right back. Will we bring it right? We wrap it up. Maybe not. Anyway, what else is coming up? Where you going next?
I'm actually in your neck of the woods this week. I'm in Kalamazoo doing a seminar.
You are. I didn't
Kalamazoo.
know
Yep.
that. You gonna
Yeah,
stay
I
with
told
us?
you. Told you.
Well,
And then after that, I'm in Buffalo doing a seminar. And
well,
then
you can always stay here at the Ponderosa and hang
the
out with Baxter.
Ponderosa. Remember the Ponderosa Steakhouse?
We used to call the big place the Ponderosa, the other place
Yeah.
where you've been. That was an amazing place. I'm glad the people who have it now enjoy it, and I'm glad they do all the work on it. This was a place that Cheryl and I, the kids, had for over 20 years. It had a guest apartment, a guest house, a pole barn, a pool house, the main house, and then in the woods it had the tiny house. And it was in the woods. And there was all these big paddocks for the dogs to run around. And it was wonderful. And I remember you saying, "Why would you sell this place?
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't have to take care of it."
Exactly. That's the thing. And I
And
only
the
ever
other-
I would stay in the Kavanaugh pub and
Yeah, that was
best
cool having the
place.
pub there too. Yeah, that was a great pub. But we had it was great for the big dogs. We had the wolfhound and all the pointers and the coonhound to run around. But boy, it's a lot to take care of. And like I remember you saying, hire somebody. Yeah, they don't show up. Or when they do, they don't do it the way you wanted to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
But it
when
was a
Brody
wonderful
was around, when Brody was around, we had some
stuff
help.
got done.
That boy went on his own, Will. He did. Left the fold. It's very sad. I talk to him every day. Hey, did I tell you he's doing bread by groups? He's judging his first assignment
Oh,
coming
you
up.
did tell me that. Yeah, that'll be fun
Yeah.
for him. Yeah.
That'd be really fun, huh? Looking forward to that. So, and he'll be at the National with us, supporting National Course in Margaret. And yeah, we get to spend a lot of time. We talk every day on Facebook is FaceTime or phone call every day. And our daughters, we're just so lucky, right? Our daughters, and by the way, we see her every day. With the grandkids, which is great to see every day for an hour. And then I get old and I think of the old place. But no, I love them to bits. They're just such great kids. And uh, they, the little one, Fallon, is a year old and she's adorable. And when Baxter, the new King Charles,
Bradley. Yeah.
Bradley Baxter, when he sees her, he just goes crazy. He just loves her so much. By the way, this is a little breed, but the nomenclature takes quite a while for people to get a hold of, right? So he's an English Toy Spaniel King Charles. Confusing to people on the street? Yes, well, it is. But it means he's black and tan, right? So you've got your solids, which are black and tan and ruby. So you can call them rubies or you can call them King Charleses, but you confuse people with Cavalier King Charles. So the English follow this people. English Toy Spaniels, English Toy Spaniel King Charles, English Toy Spaniel Ruby, and then you have the Brokens. And the Brokens are not broken, their color is just broken. And that's the Blenheims, which are the red and white ones, and the tricolor, which we call Prince Charles. So yeah, you tell someone you have an English Toy Spaniel Prince Charles, it just confuses them, Will. Did you know all that?
No, I didn't know all that. No.
Yeah, it's confusing, right? No one needs to know all that. No one. But Stacy Abel, who is an amazing exhibitor, breeder, artist, photographer, she has Barbet, but she also now has a couple of ETs, people call them. I'm sure I love that. Um, we just call them Charlies.
Yeah,
That's what they
I've
call
always
them.
known them as Charlie's.
Yeah. But anyway, she has one, and I posted the video of Baxter fetching his shark. It's bigger than him. And she said, "Oh, you have a King Charles." Yes, that's exactly what we have, a black and tan one. And I said, "And your Blenheim is beautiful." Who was in the groups down there? By the way, I went down there to gather CEUs and learn, and I did. Uh, Brian Livingston came up with two Boykins, and it was so cool because the owners were there, and I forget what they're both involved in judges education, maybe even the coordinator, but the husband's a hunter. So I was able to talk to both of them about the breed. Um, Sharon from the show side and Daniel from the hunting side. That is so important.
Oh, for
I want,
sure it is.
I want to know. I'm
I
sorry,
had
go ahead.
someone ask me this weekend about how much do judges put into when they're judging what the dogs are used for. And I said a lot of them do. I said I can't answer for all of them, but the ones that I know, they do put emphasis on it. They do decide if this dog can do that job. You know,
Yep. And these Boykins, I wanted to know how they work. Are they independent? How far are their game on? And what are they like upland? What are they like in the water? Because that helps you form your template for what the breed should look like. And when you don't
right.
see a lot of them, like Boykins, you need even more of that background to imagine them and picture them, and to be better to see them. But um, it's so important. And I was at a seminar once where the person started off with function and history. This person actually raised their hand and said, "Can we just skip that and get to the part where we learn how to judge the dog?"
Oh, Jesus.
Like, you just missed the most important part.
You'll be
You,
excused.
yeah, you talk about it all the time, right? The history is what, yeah. You,
Oh,
you
yeah.
talk about it all the time. It's so important when you're trying to learn something. How can you picture what a, here's an example. It was at Gray's Lake. Someone said to me, "There's nothing in the standard in pointers about proportion or English setters, by the way. The only two breeds that don't mention proportion in the sporting group. Fix that, clubs, fix that." So they said, "What about pointer proportion?" I said, "Well, to me, slightly off square, never long and low." And Kelly was there, fortunately, because her husband is a great field trial trainer. Kelly Shiptis is.
Yeah.
Her husband's Ed is a great field trial trainer, very well respected, and a hunter and breeds hunting dogs as well. And just a great guy. And I said to Kim, "Has Ed ever worked with a long pointer, a very off square pointer, a long and low one?" She said, "Yeah, once. It hunted for about 2 minutes, and that was the end of that." Look at American Field. Look at the pictures of the field trial winners. They're square. Now, they're a little straight both ends, they're balanced. I'm not saying pointers need to look like that, but if you're looking for proportions and you're looking for function in history, there's a good way to do it.
Right.
You'll never find a long low one out there carving up and people say, "Well, I got a junior hunter." Yeah, that's very nice, but that's not hunting all day. And that's great, by the way. I'm not discounting that.
No, of course.
But when you're talking about a big working dog, you're never going to get along.
No, yeah, like you look at my grandparents had English cockers when they were just cockers back then.
Yeah.
And their shape was perfect. It was back
Mhm.
then it was dead square and they worked all day long.
Yep,
So,
exactly. I love that. I love the working cockers.
and they
And
had
by the
big,
way,
strong bone, and they were, you know, they weren't hurting themselves out there.
yeah, and we still look for those qualities today. Well, right? We were just talking about it before.
Well, I
Rib
love going
springs.
over them, if you talk to Ginny Line, I
Yeah.
don't know if I can use this line because Michael Woods uses it, so I can use it. She'll tell you. She never told me. She told Michael that if you want, when you're looking for a butt on an English cocker, you want a big butt like Ginny Line. You want a Ginny Line butt.
Let's go with J Lo. Let's go with J Lo. But yeah, it's the first thing I look for is a big round ass,
Yeah.
and I want to see that it's got to be with just width everywhere back there. That rib spring's got to be there.
Yeah.
They're so different. That bone's got to go right down to the ground, and that
I
face has
love
got to have.
walking behind them and looking over them. I just love
Yeah.
that when you
Yep.
see one that has got that big ass and they're plunked down there in their cage and oh yeah.
It's great. And as you said, Will, this is what your grandparents hunted with. There's a reason for that. That's that's why you need to know so much about history and function. And for me, they've got to have a plush foreface and muzzle and a proper head. With planes, by the way, we talk about parallel planes and English cockers, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like this.
It's not like an
It's
Irish
like
setter.
it's like
Right.
not like any other breed. They're all parallel planes. We always think of the top skull and the top of the back skull and the
Now
top
it
of the
comes back to Irish setters, Wayne. I'm sorry.
it's true. But we're talking about this way, if you can see me, from the side, right? You don't want a big variation between the width of the muzzle and the width of the back skull. And that's another reason you want that breadth of muzzle, that width of muzzle and capacity and lip to pick up the damn bird, not a sparrow, uh, and bring back up on game birds, which are
A
not small.
woodcock.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to fit at least that in your mouth,
Yeah.
but they'll
Yeah.
hunt anything, you know. So that's our. I know Will and I talk about history and function a lot as being important. But
Well, it's just you can standards change. History never changes. So
it's a good point, Will.
it is.
Interpretations of standards change, but history's there.
History is always there, and you can look at it. You can read a standard, Wayne, and if you've never seen that dog, you give it to someone that's never seen that breed. They're not going to see that breed in their head by reading that standard.
Yeah,
If they read the history, they'll get an image. They'll get an image of what that is. So,
yeah. If you know what they're built to do, that doesn't change. I mean, history can be interpreted or told differently. It's just someone's opinion of what happened at the
yeah,
time. But the basis of that history is always there. Why they were created. And that's important, why they were created. They didn't just make these things up to look pretty.
you know.
Well, some breeds did, some
Well,
made to be
someone
lapdogs.
asked me about that because about again, well, this dog is this size and it should be as a guard dog, it's a bigger dog. And I said, yeah, but also this other dog you're saying, it's a guard dog as well. It's just a more pleasing to look at guard dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can have a guard dog that's good to look at, you
Mhm.
know. So
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no and usually that balance and that symmetry is what makes them beautiful. And that's what you need to do the job.
right.
Yeah, never think of it as a beauty contest. Always think of it as a way to reach back and keep in mind that function. And I can tell you that when I did announce Crufts all those years, there were times when I would say, this breed has to have this neck or this whatever to do its job. And I look at the dog in the ring and go,
Oops.
that one, that one couldn't do its job.
Oops.
Sure is
Next, please.
pretty. Yeah, sure is pretty, but
Yeah.
and that's
But then
true.
again, there are some cases where dogs, when you see them, you think, oh, they couldn't do that. But then you watch them, and they could do that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they
they
make
could.
up for their shortcomings sometimes
Yeah,
from what's in their heart or what's in their head, and
right.
it's amazing that people are like that as well. You know,
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. You can't judge a
will
book.
goes a long way,
That's right. I mean,
unintended.
no one would think of you as the rebound basketball king of Milton, Ontario.
Exactly.
And you know what? I use this way too many times this weekend because it came up a lot about an eye for a dog. And that's really important. You can go to every seminar, fill out all the boxes, take all you do all knock yourself
Right.
out. But I could go to the Joffrey Ballet. Someone would have to pay a lot of money to get me in. I could study there forever. I could go to every great ballet instructor in the world, and I'm never going to be a ballet dancer.
Right.
A belly dancer, maybe, but not a ballet dancer.
Cancer. But it comes down to I know it, and life's supposed to be fair, but let's face it, it's not fair. It's not fair. I like you said about the ballet dancer. I wanted to be a hockey star. Well, you know what?
In
The
high school,
closest
you
I
were.
get is I get to watch it on TV, right?
Yeah, but you were a star in high school, and that's important.
And I wasn't even a star. I was adequate. I was adequate in high school.
Adequate's enough, Will. Adequate's enough.
But like everybody
Uh,
else, I was a star on my driveway, just like some people are stars in their
yeah.
backyards. I
Yeah.
was a star. I was Bobby Orr. I was Jacques Plant. I was Mike Palmetier. I was whoever I wanted to be on my driveway.
That's important. You have to visualize those things. And I mean, I'll bet as a kid, you were in your backyard gating invisible dogs or real dogs. I remember gating English setters in my living room.
Oh,
My mother used to go crazy. I couldn't even reach both ends.
I
But
would
I want,
use our sliding glass doors and set my dogs up so I could see what I was doing. And
yeah,
you know what? Even as a handler, if I would go away to a national with just one breed and I'd be in the hotel room, I'd be sitting in front of the mirrors and looking at things I could do with my dog to make it just tweak this, and up and down the hallways of the hotel.
yep, yep.
There you go. No,
And
I'm sure some people. So I remember once somebody wanted me to come down and talk about grooming something, and I said I'm at a national. I said I don't really do those things. I'm here in my room with my dog, and I'm getting ready for the national. I said you can come up here and I can talk to me,
no,
but I'm not going down there.
doesn't work that way. But that passion is what keeps you in the sport. And I mean, it's not like lifers. We're never going to get out of this, right?
Right.
Um, but there are plenty of people that judge now that just want to judge to travel.
Oh,
They
there's no
want to be
question.
part of the social fabric. They weren't practicing in front of their mirror. They weren't
No.
getting their English setter in their mother's living room.
But they were
Um,
probably practicing something else that they excel in. But this
yes,
is like for people in our world, this is our thing. And
yeah,
that's why it's not fair. It's not a fair world. And I can practice as much as I want and I can have the perfect stance as a goaltender. I can do all I'm still not Patrick Waugh.
yeah,
It's just
yeah. You don't get as angry as Patrick Roy either. Well, sometimes.
sometimes he's hilarious. I love Patrick Waugh.
He is. He's coaching now. Look out.
Yeah, my
Look out.
favorite line is when Jeremy Roenick said something about they beat him in the United Center, and then they asked Patrick about what he thought of what Jeremy said. And he said, "I could not hear Jeremy because I had my two Stanley Cup rings in my ears."
That's pretty good. That's pretty
He's the
good.
best.
He is. I'm sure you're all fascinated by that, dog show people, but we
That's
have
not
two
true
passions.
because I met somebody at Grace Lake and they came up and introduced themselves to me, and their mother told them to listen to us because she likes hockey. And she started
Absolutely.
listening to us because she likes hockey and dogs, so now she has both.
I get that. I get that. Well, I get that once in a while. Someone will come up and say, "Hey, don't take the hockey out because it's what we love." Or I never heard of hockey before, but now I'm kind of watching it, right? Well,
I'm
you had that
sure
one
I'm sure
adventure.
we're like Taylor Swift. We are growing the sport. We've got
Yes,
our
we
own
are.
Swifties that are now watching hockey.
They're going to show us in the Super Bowl, but only for 26 seconds. They're going to show Will and I in the Super Bowl. We don't want to offend any of you people out there who are offended by a talented person. Anyway, boy, Tracy Chapman and that other fella is, that country fella.
I don't know. I'm not a country
Yeah,
guy.
we were talking about him before.
I know, but I don't remember
And
his
you say
name
he's
now.
getting old now. Yeah, there was some other guy. Anyway, they did Fast Cars at the Grammys, and if you missed that, man, you want to see art and balance and symmetry, the way it was put together. I can't think of the guy's name, and he's pretty famous, and I kind of like him. But anyway, that's the way it worked. Tracy Chapman was the spotlight, and if you missed that on the Grammys, you missed a good piece of art. Just like we right here are a great piece of art.
That's right. If you missed this show, you don't know.
You never know anything about the world. But really, an eye for a dog is an important thing, an eye for symmetry and balance and harmony and that can be in music and art, it can be in anything. David Kirkland, whatever you breed, any breed that walks in there, he's going to figure it out because he's got a great eye for a dog. And David's getting a lot of assignments as he should, and he's getting plum ones, and people really respect them. They're out there. And I've known David since for many, many, many years. When he was showing miniature schnauzers in New Jersey near where I lived. And he's always had that focus, quiet, just like us, Will, quiet, but watching and observing and taking it in. And he's able to express it too. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
No, it's an important thing having that eye, or else you're not going to go anywhere fast if you don't. So
I brought this up. It came to me at the middle of the circ cluster down there, and I mentioned it more than I probably should have. But and I'm not the system's what it is. I'm not fighting the judging approval system. But if you worked for Ted Young, and for you whippersnappers, he was one of the great. He is the greatest cocker person that maybe ever lived. One of them certainly. If you worked for him for 6 years, right next to him, doing grooming, trimming, learning, showing, covering dogs with Ted, and you apply for Cocker Spaniels, no points for that.
oh what?
No points for that.
Yeah, that should be enough. I used to work with Ted Young. That should be enough.
It's
All right, come on in.
you're right. You're right. I think that they need. There is another box that you can there on the CU thing that you have to. It's a big deal, but I'm not. I think it should be more than that. I think there should be a other box that accounts for as many points as they think you should get. And if you put down your Ted's assistant for 6 years, uh, and they should look at that and go, that's worth 3 points or 4 points or 5 points, whatever it might be. Have something in there that discusses something that's not on your the typical 3x this, 5 times that, something more broad that is used more often. It's a little box there now, but used more often and done more broadly, and maybe be able to be assigned. I have no I have no points for stuffing or showing or trimming or bathing 7 billion boxers when I worked for Bob and Jane. There's no box. I don't know if I'm going to judge boxers right away down the line, but that should be something, and I'll bet it wouldn't count. Um, and same for any poodle person or any breed, any breed. Um, yeah, uh,
It's a
something's
tough
got to
one
count.
to run around your head with because it makes such common sense, but
Yeah,
it's not.
and handlers get exception for trimming and bathing and showing dogs, even though they might not have any bred and really have it. They only have a grasp of what wins, not what's good, and they get extra credit, which is great. I'm not putting that down. There's got to be a more broad window for that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a consistently thing. Is like let's face it, somebody can have a great year and take a dog to number one, and but it's the consistency of what you presented and how you presented over the years and how you're respected. But like it's hard to say nowadays. But I used to it would make me work harder to hear Janie say I did a good job. You know,
Absolutely,
it would make me work
absolutely.
harder. You know,
Yeah.
you're doing a good job, but fix this, and I'd fix that. You know.
Hmm. Boy, and that was, I don't know if people would remember how big of a deal that would be. That's like that's like Johnny Carson. Come on out to the couch. You were
Yeah.
funny. Um, that's just a big, big deal, and there's no points for that. Um, I mean,
And
working
there's
for horse
still
riding.
those people out there. There's still those judges out there that I think have that kind of respect. It's just that we don't have there's not enough history being learned by the handlers and by the young people to know that they should be thrilled when, Ed Biven tells them this is a great shaped Doberman, that you've done a
Mhm.
good, and I love the way you present it. Like they should know. They should, that. What would you say? You don't have to go. Don't have to go best in show that day. You just won best in show. You go back
I
and they
did the
Ed Biven said this to me.
I did. There was a thing called the Best of the Best at Grace Lake years ago, where all the dogs won specialties and groups got to come in the ring. I happen to have 56 in the ring, all different breeds. That's just the way it worked. And you go through them, and I gave a Doberman best, and I saw Ed out there the whole time. And I'm like, oh boy, I hope I'm doing this
Oh my
right.
God,
Oh
yeah.
man, I know what I want, but geez, I can't wait to talk to him about it. When I walked out, he went, "That's a good dog." And yes, that meant the world to me. It really did. It meant the
I think
world.
I've told this story before, but I love this story. Ed was doing PCA and Mrs. Clark was still alive and she was a member of PCA watching and he wanted to give the breed. He was doing best of breed. He wanted to give the breed to
Oh,
this
you did
certain
tell us.
dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Go
And
ahead.
how
Tell
when
it
he
again. It's
pointed,
great.
he felt a pain right there.
I love that story. I
It's a
love the story.
great story.
Yeah, it's true. We have and there are those people. I think and I don't wanna relate everything to this, but I do because it's true. When there was only a Saturday and Sunday show, you had time. You weren't packing up and to run to fly to California and fly back to Kansas and be in New Jersey in the morning to hit all those points and shows you're racking up. And there was more time sitting around talking about dogs. Uh, you didn't have, in a 5-day cluster, the energy gets lost too, or a 10-day, wherever it is. And there's not as much as that, maybe. I don't know.
It's
But
amazing too because, like, as a handler, you think those 5-day clusters, you think, "Oh, it's a lot of revenue because of the 5-day
mhm,
cluster." But your dogs start to feel it. Um,
yeah,
like, even trim-wise, I used to love going down to my trimming room and just getting my dog ready for the weekend. I hated getting them ready at the dog show. When you're on those kind of circuits, you have to do the work of the, and you're distracted. My favorite time of the day was I go into the grooming room. I have two mirrors up. Back then it was coffee, and I'd just sit there and listen to music and look at my dog and figure out how I was going to do things. This and I think it also became a bonding moment with the animals. So
yeah. That's a big deal.
yeah.
That's spending time with the dogs. The other thing is I just watch people come flying in and flying out all the time. Uh, I did not judge this weekend. I went down there to learn and observe, and because I wanted to go and see dogs. I wasn't working that weekend, so I went down. I got there at 7:30 every morning, and I left at 8 o'clock. One show went to 8 o'clock
Yeah.
because there was a sporting dog show concurrently, 7:30, whatever. I was the first one there and the last one to leave. Why wouldn't you be?
And
You
people
got
get
s
shocked when I was showing some dogs, and the beagles run until 1 o'clock, and I'm there at 7. What are you doing here? What I do.
Yeah.
You know?
Our son Brody, would he and George Ward and you would be the first. He gets to the show really early in the morning, no matter what time pointers are on. He wants to learn, and that's what plus he likes to get good parking spots and good
Right.
spots. But we all do. But if you're gonna run and just watch Airedales, you're never gonna learn about short-legged terriers or long-legged terriers or any you just learn about Airedales, maybe. No, you won't, because you have nothing to compare them to, so you won't. You need to know about the relative breeds around them, or you'll never get that breed. So if you just fly in and fly out with your dog and then wonder why the pros beat you every weekend, well, there's a reason. Stick around and learn. You
Yep.
best in shows now are empty, not an indie. Best in shows are packed with spectators and people watching. Um, but nowadays, best in show is 3 people in the building,
We're just getting
6
ready to go
assistants,
to dinner.
yeah, 6 or 7 assistants, and a couple of diehard judges who need a ride back to the hotel, and that's it. You know?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, yeah. When you coming down here again, bud?
Judging?
He's
I'm
not
doing,
yet judging.
Syracuse in March.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think is that I think that's
Maybe
my next assignment down there.
maybe we can get up there to go see our buddy Tom Bradley, who's doing
He
better.
usually comes to the show, so
Yeah, yeah, he had a little setback with his health, he's doing better, and we think of him all the time, and shout out to all our good people that are having some health issues, Jackie, Terry, Stacy, and Tom, and others. We have to think of that. That's the one of the best parts of our community, Will, uh, is
the
we have
family
those
part,
people.
there's no question.
Yeah. Someone gets sick, and by the way, you can find somebody at the shows or through the shows. Luke was there this weekend with this amazing Shih Tzu, the comic dog, and he was telling me he has all kinds of heart problems that he's had, something in his family about clotting and things, and he wasn't getting good service or he wasn't getting the answers he wanted in his local area. Reached out to some client who knew somebody who's something big with the Heart Association. Now he's got the right doctor who
Yep.
calls him and asks how he's doing. Not this 3-minute crap where you run in and run out. That's the way it works. We have that incredible resource base, no matter what it is. Um, there's always that guy who can start your car and get your RV fixed too.
That's right, there's always that guy at the shows. John Glover used to be that guy for us up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great stuff. Great. Well, Will, we've killed another good morning.
We
And
have, we have. It's been a while, so it was fun.
it was fun. I really enjoyed it. And thanks for listening. And it's great at the shows. We love hearing from you when you have something to suggest or complain about or laugh about. Come up and chat. And if you have any things you'd like us to discuss, email Young William over here. It's youngwilliam.com, right?
Youngwilliam.com.
So what's your email address again?
Will Alexander 819 at gmail.com.
There you go.
Get me, that's my
819.
personal one, or you can go through the website Will Alexander's Dog Show Tips.
You
There's
can.
also a place to leave messages there.
Will Alexander Dog Show Tips.
Will Alexander's Dog Show Tips.
Oh, don't forget the S. That'll get you in
Right,
trouble.
Will
Will Alexander's. There's two
I
of them.
own all the dog show tips, so it's Will
That's right.
Alexander's Dog Show
That's
Tips.
right. Yeah. Don't you do like hair tips too? You dye the tips of the hair so those
Nah,
silver.
I just have gray highlights now.
Yeah. Well, maybe I need my tips taken care of. All right, bud. Peace out, and we'll see you soon. And if you're coming down, just give me a call. You can stay here.
Perfect. All right.
Hang out with Baxter. I think
Bradley. Bradley.
him too. I think
Not
I'm
gonna get in trouble, I know.
I
Bradley.
think yeah, Cheryl will come after you. You won't be able to stay here if you keep that up. Cheryl will have, I have to check to see if I'm home this weekend. I have to, this is how old I am, Will. I wake up in the morning and I say, do I have anything this week today with Cheryl? Do I have any appointments you're taking?
I have to write everything down or else and I can't start my day until I sit and write everything down.
I know.
I have to do.
What am I doing this weekend? What do we do? When are we going here? If you ask me when are we going there again, you're going there alone. Anyway, all right. That's enough. See
All
you,
right,
bud.
guys. Yeah, everybody
Peace
stay
out.
safe out there and we'll see you down the road.
Pretty on, Greg.
No way.
Better be paying attention, Doc.
Thanks for
So Ernie can use this in the blooper reel.
That's right. We love you, Ernie. Yes, we do.
Don't put that in, Ernie.
Quit taking yourself so damn seriously.
Some extraordinary data things that are being done around the world.
Thanks, Ernie.
We didn't mention hockey either. Isn't that unbelievable? Put that in, Doc.
Yeah, they let us see it in a blooper. This is good. We're going to be here in a second, Wayner.
Don't lose it, Doc.
Hot.
Use that one, Doc.
Don't use that one.